and welcome be inside for the start of play in just less than an hour on day one of this fourth Ashes Test. So, has Santa brought you any cricketing cheer today, any crumbs of comfort with changes afoot for England? Or have the tourists, like you perhaps, gone cold turkey after a baggy green blitz in Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth? Have gone. Can England find some redemption on what remains of this Ashes Test tour? 2 matches left, of course. We are pitchside at the MCG. Myself, Michael Vaughan, Jeff Boycott and Michael Slater, I'm delighted to say, joins us for the next 2 Test matches. Nice to have a different Aussie perspective. Might be more comforting than some.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I'm a real rah-rah Aussie, so I'm really getting the face of Boycott. That's
great.
My ploy for the next couple of Test matches. Great to be here, and hopefully England can fight back.
Well, let's hope so. How full or empty, Michael, is your Christmas glass?
Well, it's a little bit half. Merry Christmas to everyone back home. Like, Australia have been the better team. You know, over 3 Test matches, they've played better cricket. To me, they have better tools for these conditions. With the Kookaburra ball, they've had batsmen that have been able to bat long periods of time. They've been able to cope with any little amount of movement that England have found on the odd occasion. We haven't had a spinner that's bowled with any kind of potency. Only 3 wickets for Moeen Ali. And the bowling attack, in terms of what they're facing in Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins of Lions, have been outstanding. So that's why England are 3-0 down so far.
Yeah. How big's the gap, Jeffrey?
It's going to be big and stay big unless the players bat better and bowl better. I've listened to quite a lot of interviews, as you'd expect. There's a lot of media about England, Australia, asking the players. They're all trying not to criticise any individual. They're trying to tell themselves that in important moments they could have, maybe, should have played better, bowled better, batted better. The fact is they've lost 3 Test matches fairly comfortably in the end. And instead of talking about it, like Joe himself saying, you know, we try and win 2 Test matches. Well, win 1 first. 1 would be nice, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And just be honest about it, that we haven't batted as well as we can. We haven't bowled as well as we can. Fielding's been good. You know, the catching's been pretty okay. But you have to do that better. So you can talk as much as you want, but you've just got to go out there and perform, and then you can match the Aussies and see what happens.
Well, let's start with the batting, Michael, because actually when you look at the leading run scorers, England have contributed. In fact, probably the lesser lights, arguably, coming to Australia have contributed, but the key men have really fired when it matters for Australia.
Yeah, look, that's the big point, right? So we were talking about Alastair Cook and Joe Root doing the bulk of the scoring, just like we're talking about Warner and Smith doing the bulk of the scoring. Smith has, Warner's been a little bit off. But both, Root, he's had his moments, but Cook is terribly out of form. He's got to find something. But it's been the likes of Vince, Milan and Stoneman at times that have outshone them. Now, we were saying if Cook and Root do a job and those others put their hand up, then you're in a really good position. You can't lose 6 for 35 in Perth, be all out 403, you're up against it straight away. That should have been 550. Simple as that. But the key men have got to stand up, because I think the other guys have really impressed. And it's about being hungry. When you get that 80, you go on and get the 180. That's what Australia do, and that's what they do well in these conditions.
Yeah, no, that's clearly part of the problem. Those 2 leading run scorers for England aren't scoring enough runs.
No, and that's, you know, all the talk going into the series was the senior core in the team. You can go back to the bowlers as well. You've got Stuart Broad completely out of form. Chris Wokes hasn't really fired apart from that second innings at the Adelaide Oval. You've got Moeen Ali, you know, back home in the UK. He's got outstanding figures. Overseas, he's struggling. So there's 3 of the 4 senior bowlers that have struggled. Jimmy Anderson has averaged 25, so he's done a decent job. Then you go into the batting department. Cook and Root have found no form whatsoever. So, you know, that's why, you know, England have struggled to compete for longer periods. They've competed for the odd hour, the odd session, the odd day.
Yeah.
But the problem with England, I've said it in Perth, that when they have a good day, it's a good day. And when they have a bad day, unfortunately for them, it's because of the skill levels. They're having horrendous days, and that's why they're getting so far behind in the games.
As you may have known or heard rumour, Tom Curran does make his Test debut here today. Big day for him, just receiving his England cap from Bob Willis. Obviously the injury to Craig Overton, that broken rib, has forced him out, and thus Tom Curran makes his debut for England today. You'll also know that Mitchell Starc is not available. He's injured for Australia, and so Jackson Bird takes his place. Listen, Mitchell Starc obviously been the leading wicket taker, maybe not bowled as brilliantly or as consistently as the other two, arguably, Michael, but he has that happy knack of taking wickets.
Yeah, and he's been there. So you get through Cummins and Hazelwood, and Stark comes back into the attack. You know he's going to bowl fast, full straight. He might get the ball to reverse. And even if he's not quite on, it's the way they're bowling together. Let's not underestimate this bowling attack, because Nathan Lyon is a genuine wicket taker. So there's really no glitch, I should say, in what Australia are doing, and I don't think bowling attacks around the world near that strength at all. So England are up against, and I think Stoneman the other day was quoted as experienced anything like this in Test cricket yet. So that's what they're up against. The pressure's on. Stark, Hazelwood, have a look at that. 22 they're averaging in this series.
Yeah.
Anderson, Broad, 36. Now that's the same as the batting when we compare it as well. So both departments in England down, but they have competed at time. What we're doing is not letting the foot off the throat, and the pressure's always on.
Well, we talk about Broad and Anderson. Perhaps we should talk about them separately, because actually Jimmy's at times delivered. Stewart has toiled, but not Jeffrey, really. Hasn't taken enough wickets.
You have to be a bit careful about saying how good Jimmy's been.
Right.
He's flattered a bit by his wickets he got with the new ball at night time in Adelaide. He's been okay, but he's never been a big factor in Australia on these conditions. What he does, with his experience, knowledge, accuracy, he doesn't give too many runs away. He doesn't leak runs.
Yeah.
Because he bowls there or thereabouts. He's been around a long time. Stewart, well, he just hasn't done it. But before we came out, the selectors, the coaches should have known that fast medium bowling doesn't cut it in Australia. You have to find pace. And I think we get sucked into everybody, even some of the public. We see our team play in England, and they virtually beat everybody with the Duke ball, big seam, moves around a bit, and we win. And they get sucked into thinking, oh, well, we'll go away like last year. We'll go away to India, we'll beat them. We got walloped in India, and it's the same here.
Has Curran got pace? I don't think he's got pace.
No, he hasn't. He's the same. He's medium fast.
Okay.
You know.
Well, let's give him a chance. He hasn't started yet. We haven't even had the toss yet. He might not be bowling until tomorrow. We shall see. Michael, always good to have you. We'll hear you in commentary throughout the day.
Look, don't forget, you guys have competed throughout. You're losing the key moments, and if they don't lose those, it's maybe yours.
We have to lose him, but we'll get him back. We'll get him back. Next, we'll hear from the England skipper, Joe Root. Do stay with us.